Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera kepada para hadirin di mana jua anda berada. Selamat datang ke program Knowledge Sharing Lestari Anjuran Green Office Jabatan Perpustakaan UTM dengan kerjasama Green Office Sekolah Kejuruteraan Kimia dan Kejuruteraan Tenaga. Terima kasih kepada Prof. Insinyur Teknologis Dr. Sharifah RAFIDAH binti Wan ALWI dari Sekolah Kejuruteraan Kimia dan Kejuruteraan Tenaga kerana sudi bekerjasama dalam penganjuran program ini. Untuk makluman semua, program Sharing ini merupakan Lestari Talk siri yang ketiga dan tema program pada hari ini adalah Water. Saya Muhammad FIKRI bin YUSOF selaku Moderator program pada hari ini yang akan bersiaran selama sejam. Bersiaran secara langsung di Facebook Live Perpustakaan Universiti Teknologi Malaysia dan YouTube UTM Library TV. Para hadirin boleh like dan share program pada hari ini serta bertanya soalan di ruangan komen. Panel jemputan kita pada hari ini ialah Profesor Insinyur Teknologis Dr. Sharifah RAFIDAH Wan ALWI. Apa khabar Prof?
Baik, Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Sebelum itu, saya ingin kongsikan sedikit latar belakang panel kita pada hari ini. Okay. Profesor Insinyur Teknologis Dr. Sharifah RAFIDAH adalah profesor daripada Sekolah Kejuruteraan Kimia dan Kejuruteraan Tenaga UTM. Sebelum ini beliau merupakan Director of Process System Engineering Center selama 10 tahun bermula dari 2011 sehingga 2021. Beliau adalah pakar perunding pinch untuk pelbagai industri dan merupakan antara penyelidik terkemuka dalam pembangunan teknik analisis pinch. Prof. Sharifah juga merupakan pengasas bersama dan pengarah Optimal System Engineering Sdn Bhd iaitu sebuah syarikat UTM spin-off. Beliau juga terlibat secara meluas dalam 80 projek penyelidikan, 17 projek berasaskan industri untuk pelbagai syarikat dan agensi kerajaan dan telah melatih berbagai jurutera dari lebih 300 syarikat dalam bidang reka bentuk dan pengurusan kejuruteraan Lestari. Bersama-sama dengan pasukannya, mereka telah membangunkan 7 perisian pengurangan sumber. Beliau telah memenangi pelbagai anugerah antarabangsa dan kebangsaan seperti Green Talent 2019 di Jerman, ICAM Highly Commended Sir Frederick Warner Prize 2011 di United Kingdom, Asian Young Scientist and Technologist Award 2014, National Young Scientist Award 2015, Asian US Science Prize for Women 2016 di Energy Sustainability Malaysia Research Star Award 2016, 2018, 2019, Top Research Scientist Malaysia 2018 dan Sarawak State International Women Award 2021. Beliau disenaraikan sebagai saintis Asia 100 pada tahun 2017 dan saintis meningkat Asia pada tahun 2020 dan 8 saintis wanita dari Asia yang anda perlu tahu pada tahun 2021 oleh asianscientist.com. Beliau juga merupakan editor bersekutu untuk Journal of Cleaning Production dan penasihat sistem pengurusan tenaga Lestari UTM. Beliau juga pernah berkhidmat sebagai pengerusi kumpulan kerja kepimpinan sains di bawah Young Scientist Network Akademi Sains Malaysia dan pengerusi Malaysia ICAM Young Engineer Group YEG. Beliau juga seorang jurutera profesional, ahli teknologi profesional, jurutera bertauliah, pengurus tenaga bertauliah, pengurus tenaga elektrik berdaftar dan jurulatih bertauliah untuk pengurusan tenaga ASEAN. Tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, dijemput Profesor Insinyur Teknologis Dr. SHARIFAH RAFIDAH Wan ALWI dengan perkongsian beliau berjudul Water, Water Everywhere, So Why Bother to Save Water. Dipersilakan, Prof.
Terima kasih banyak Encik Muhammad Fikri selaku moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera kepada semua. Saya Sharifah and I'll be speaking about water, water every day, everywhere. So why bother to save water? So before I start, I would like to thank UTM Library as well as the School of Chemical and Energy Engineering for inviting me for this talk. Okay, so water is abundant, yeah. Water is abundant. If we go to the ocean, maybe kita pergi Port Dickson ke, kita pergi Langkawi ke, we see water is everywhere. Yeah, water is everywhere in the river, in the ocean. So why is it very important to save water, and why do we need to care? Okay, I want to ask: is any of you here today who is watching this show today is doing something like what this picture is showing? Yeah. So this is a boy, and the boy is brushing his teeth, and you can see that the water pipe is running. Yeah. And you can see that the shower at the back. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he has a water heater, so he want to let the water become warmer. So he let the water switch on. Yeah, the shower water switch on for a while. So I hope this is none of you. But if this is one of you that are doing one of this behavior, then this is something that you should change, yeah, or we should change from now on, okay? Because this is wasting water. So why again do we need to save water? We said just now water is abundant, right? So why do we need to save water? So if we look at this, in actual, yeah, even though there's a lot of water on Earth, yeah, so about 70% of Earth consists of water, but 97.5% of that water is salt water. Air masin. Kita tak boleh makan, kita tak boleh minum air ni. Ya, unless kita dah ada original salt kat dalam tu lah. And only 2.5% is fresh water. Okay. Dan yang 2.5% fresh water dekat bumi ni, 68.9% are locked in glaciers, ya, dekat glaciers dekat Antarctica and so on. 30.8% is groundwater, and only 0.3% out of this 2.5% is from lakes and rivers, which we harvest for drinking water. Right? So sebenarnya air ni walaupun nampak banyak, tapi air yang kita boleh proses dan minum, especially daripada lakes and river, which we call the surface water, is only 0.3% out of that 2.5%. Yeah? So that's the first thing. Secondly, lakes and rivers, tempat yang kita ada surface water ni, okay, dah lah sikit, tak banyak. Okay. So ni zaman-zaman dululah, zaman-zaman atuk nenek kita, sungai semua sangat bersih. Sungai semua zaman kita boleh terjun mandi dalam air sungai pada zaman tu. But unfortunately, this is the river nowadays. It's polluted. It's being polluted by so many things, and it's not as clean as before. Industries buang sisa kat dalam ni, domestic semua, sisa daripada domestic, sisa daripada industry and so on, all is being dumped into the rivers nowadays. And we don't have to go far, like near UTM, we have Sungai Sekudai. So you want to see how Sungai Sekudai looks like? This is Sungai Sekudai. So you can see how polluted is Sungai Sekudai, and this is the water source that we are taking into the water treatment plant to produce the water. So why is this happening? Because there are illegal quarters, setinggan. There are domestic wastewater pollution, orang-orang yang tinggal sepanjang sungai tu, sometimes they don't send their wastewater to the wastewater treatment plant, they just discharge it to the river, for example. Industrial and commercial water pollution. Industry, kadang-kadang they don't follow the standards of DOE, they discharge it not according to the standard. And when people are doing this, then this kind of things happen. And sometimes people just buang je sampah sarap ke dalam sungai, ke dalam laut and so on. So this is what makes our water very, very polluted. Dan tambahan lagi, kita punya unsystematic water drainage system juga mengakibatkan this type of pollution to happen and become worse. Okay, so first, so water pollution is getting quite bad, and if you don't do something about that, then kita mungkin tak ada air bersih lah untuk akan datang. Dan seterusnya, the earth is getting more and more populated. Zaman dulu mungkin tak ramai orang. So you can see that in 1800, tahun 1800, there is only 1 billion people. And in 1930, it became 2 billion people. And in 30 years later, it became 3 billion. And in 2011, we have about 7 billion people on Earth. And the growth keeps on increasing by 2.1% growth yearly. So kat Earth ni makin lama makin bertambah orang, dan setiap orang yang bertambah ni, dia memerlukan air, dia memerlukan makanan. And to produce food, to produce goods and so on, we also need to use water. So we need extensive amount of water to sustain and to keep every of these 7 billion people to have enough water and so on. So kalau kita tengok this statistic, so this is a statistic by the World Resources. So we can see that there are a lot of countries that have water scarcity risk. So the water scarcity risk, kalau you tengok kat sini, memang Malaysia nampak macam tak termasuk dalam water scarcity risk ni, tapi banyak negara-negara lain, they are included in this water scarcity prediction by 2050. And it was predicted that by the year 2050, 9.7 billion people will live in a water-stressed region. So this is half of the world projected, 9.7 billion will live in water-stressed region. And this is very, very disturbing. Sebab sekarang dah 2022, 2050 is just 38 years down the line. So this one will be kita punya anak cucu nanti. So hopefully bukan anak cucu kita lah yang akan berada dalam situasi ini pada masa akan datang. So you might say that, okay, Malaysia tak nampak ada dalam scarcity map tadi. So kalau kita tengok sini, satu lagi masalah besar yang kita kena risau is climate change. Climate change. Kalau you tengok sekarang ni, contohnya banjir, banjir kerap berlaku. Kemarau pun kerap berlaku, and it's memang unpredictable. It can just suddenly bulan ni kita dapat some news yang hujan lebat lah apalah, macam-macam yang akan berlaku. So climate change is unpredictable as well, because of the global warming and so on. And kalau kita tengok ni England, even England is going to run out of water in 25 years due to climate change and population boom. And kalau kita Google, Malaysia pun sebenarnya is also affected by this climate change. So kalau kita tengok this newspaper article, Malaysia is expecting water shortage in 6 states, including Johor. So 6 states ni, contohnya Selangor, Penang, Johor, Melaka, and another 2 states. So why we are facing this water shortage? Disebabkan oleh climate change, kemarau, especially kalau kemarau yang berpanjangan, then we will have this water shortage issue. Air tak cukup. So we have to do something. It does not mean we are in Malaysia and we don't have this problem of water scarcity. Malaysia is also facing this water scarcity. Even saya pernah visit some plants in Johor area. They don't have enough water sometimes to sustain their industrial production. And this is very worrying because they have to get the water elsewhere. Right? So water shortage is one of the highest global risks because of the reasons that I have mentioned just now, and we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it. Mungkin ramai rasa macam, benda ni masih jauh lagi. It could not be that bad. How bad could? Paling teruk pun ialah air je. Air boleh lah minum sikit-sikit, kita catu air kan. So why bother? Paling teruk pun mungkin tak dapat mandi ke. So what could be the impact of not having enough water, clean water to sustain us? So first of all, you imagine, sekarang ni air quite luxury. You buka je pipe kat rumah tu, air dah dapat. You boleh guna air tu untuk mandi, masak, minum and so on. Tiba-tiba satu hari, dalam masa terdekat, imagine that maybe in 1 year time, or maybe this year, we don't know because of the climate change. Tiba-tiba government kata water treatment plant kita tak dapat produce enough water, so water will be restricted for each houses. So at that time, we may not have the water luxury yang kita ada sebelum ni, minum, mandi, swimming pool and so on, cuci kereta, cuci baju. And air ni mungkin makin lama makin mahal and makin susah nak dapat. And as I have mentioned just now, air ni kita gunakan untuk banyak benda. It's not only for drinking, washing and cleaning. It's also for food production. Contohnya, untuk hasilkan satu steak. Satu steak yang daripada lembu kan. Lembu tu kan dia perlukan air juga untuk nak besarkan dia. So a steak dinner uses about 15,500 liter of water untuk hasilkan satu steak ni. And this is enough water to fill a small swimming pool. So imagine how much water just untuk produce daging. Dan banyak lagi. Kalau kita tengok semua produk makanan, untuk menghasilkan dia, either daripada tanaman ataupun daripada kita punya ternakan, we need a lot of water to produce all this kind of food that we are taking for granted nowadays because it's so easy to get all this food. Sekarang ni pun ada isu ayam naik harga, ayam tak cukup, telur and so on, semua benda naik harga kan. And all this are also bergantung kepada air untuk kita hasilkan. Tu makanan. Dan kalau kita tengok, Allah pun kata dalam surah Al-Furqan 48 ke 50. Dan kami turunkan dari langit air yang amat bersih agar kami menghidupkan dengan air itu negeri atau tanah yang mati dan agar kami memberi minum dengan air itu sebahagian dari makhluk kami, binatang-binatang ternakan dan manusia yang ramai. Even Al-Quran tekankan betapa pentingnya air bersih, and without this clean water, ternakan binatang semua akan mati and manusia akan sengsara. So it's very, very important for us to think how to preserve and ensure a sustainable water management system and to ensure we have enough water for our generations. So tu yang macam Al-Quran dah sebut tadi, without air bersih, tanaman pun akan mati, ternakan pun akan mati. Dan macam saya kata, it will affect food production. And not only food production, also our other commodities. Contohnya lah, nak hasilkan satu seluar jeans. Satu seluar jeans tu, it consume 20,000 of liters of water just to produce a pair of jeans. So almost everything that we have dalam bilik ni, contohnya saya tengah duduk dalam satu bilik ni, you need water in order to produce all these goods as well as all these commodities. And ni contoh ya, industries have to be shut down because of water shortage. So ni berlaku di Chennai, where the industries were crippled because they have a water shortage issue at that time. So if we are not careful, this could be happening in the future. Bukan sahaja disebabkan harga barang dah naik ataupun peperangan and so on. If we have a water shortage issue, not only we will have problem in getting water supply, but many things will disappear from the shelves, like our products, our foods, and so on. And it is very, very worrying for us if we don't do something about it. Okay, itu about food and commodity and air. Macam mana dengan energy pula? Sekarang ni kita menggunakan electricity kat rumah kan? We use electricity to power up our house, from at night, and so on. So where does electricity comes from? It's from the power plants that produce power generation. And if you want to know, energy is also very highly linked to water usage as well. So kalau you tengok dalam ni, half of US water consumption goes to electricity generation. So you can imagine how much water is being used to produce energy or electricity. And these are some statistics again on how much water is used for each of these different types of power plants. So kalau you tengok, contohnya kalau power plant tu menggunakan natural gas, it consume about 198 gallons of water. If it's a nuclear plant, it consume about 672 gallons of water. If it's a coal plant, it consume about 687 gallons of water and so on. So the amount of water is quite big, unless, for example, we use wind energy, which is quite low. Kita do not need any water for this wind energy. Mungkin untuk production memerlukan, tapi untuk the generation tak perlukan. So water is also quite linked to the energy production. And we have seen there are cases, contohnya dekat South Africa, North America, India, Australia and so on. There were several, there were a number of power plants that were forced to shut down because they have a water scarcity issues. And like I said, this could also happen to Malaysia. Bukan je tak ada air nak minum, nak mandi, makanan, commodities good pun akan hilang tadi saya kata. Third, energy pun kita tak boleh produce, electricity and so on. Kalau kita don't think about how to sustain this water. So energy, food as well as water security are all quite linked together. So it's very, very important. Kalau water affected, dia akan affect juga energy and food production. So that is why it is very, very important for us to preserve and conserve water from now on and find ways to sustain this water as far as possible, as much as possible. So that is again why I was saying water shortage is one of the highest global risks. Sebab air tak ada, it affects the whole system. So let's discuss now on what we can do. So I believe most of you here are students or maybe the publics or maybe staff of the university, and you would like to know what can we do. So there are many ways kita boleh save our water. Kita boleh save daripada diri kita. Kita boleh save by advising others. Kita boleh save juga if you have a business or a house, or contohnya you are from the industries, you can save water in various ways. So kita boleh save water from all levels. But today I'll be discussing more how we can save water from our own personal water use. So let's start with ourselves first before kita advise others ataupun before we go to a bigger scale like businesses, industries and so on. So how do we save water? Nak senang ingat, kita ingat water juga. So what is this water? W is use water and resources wisely. The first thing is kita kena guna air wisely. Jangan membazir sesuka hati. Kedua A, which is consider alternative water sources. So contohnya lah, kalau you tak perlu guna air bersih, kemungkinan you boleh pakai air hujan contohnya, ataupun you boleh guna air yang you reuse, for example. Ya. T, consider partially or fully treating water. Air itu katakan tak kotor sangat, you boleh maybe partially treat it and reuse it. E, eliminate water where possible. Apa yang tak perlu guna air, kita tak payah guna air. Contohnya lah, you nak, katakanlah lantai you kotor, your floor, the floor that you are there is dirty. And you use a water hose to wash the water away. So that is wasting water when, for example, you can just use a simple broom to clean the floor. Yeah, so we should always eliminate the use of water where possible. And finally, R is reuse or recycle water. Yang T tadi dengan which is treatment. R ni kita direct reuse. Ya, apa yang kita boleh direct reuse, kita boleh direct reuse. Contohnya lah, you cuci air beras. You cuci air beras, nak masak nasi. So air beras ni, instead of you buang dekat sinki, you boleh guna untuk siram pokok bunga. Ya, so ada banyak nutrien dalam air beras ni yang boleh jadi baja untuk you punya tanaman contohnya. So this is what we call direct reuse. Yeah, you can reuse the water for another purpose instead of throwing that water away. Okay, so ingat this water formula. Use water wisely. Consider alternative water source. Consider treating the water. Try to eliminate water usage if you don't need it. And always try to think also, maybe if you can reuse or recycle that water, then you should also consider that. Okay. So, step 1, nak save water, is kita kena reflect balik diri kita. Ya, reflect balik diri kita. How do we use water so far? Do we waste water? We need to change our behavior as the first step. Ya. Kalau kita tak change behavior, you belilah water gadget, water efficient gadget yang mana pun. Tapi kalau you boleh change your behavior, simple things saja. Contohnya macam switch off the water when you are not using it. You can already save water tremendously without the need for investing in technologies pun. Ya? So nak save water ni bukannya kena invest teknologi canggih-canggih sangat. If you do the change of behavior, that is always the first step and the cheapest way for us to save water. Yeah, we don't need to waste water. We just use water as we need them. So, ni gambar yang awal-awal tadi kan. So, kalau ada siapa-siapa yang jenis macam ni, then this is the time for us to reflect back and stop doing all this. Yeah. So, don't switch on the water pipes when we're not using it. Don't switch on the shower and just let it the water go, just like that. Because imagine all the clean water, water yang daripada pipe ni datang daripada water treatment plant. To produce this clean water, it has to go through a lot of processes and is also energy intensive. Yeah? So imagine sekarang ni bila you buka air macam ni, you are actually wasting clean water which other people can utilize and which actually kita boleh save water ni, so that kita tak membazir. Right? So ni another daripada kita punya Nabi Muhammad SAW. Nabi Muhammad pernah melihat one of his friend Sa'ad. So he saw Sa'ad dia tengah mengambil wuduk. So at that time dia nampak Sa'ad dia mengambil wuduk tapi macam air melimpah semua tu. So he asked, what is this excess? What is this water that you are wasting ketika mengambil wuduk? Lepas tu Sa'ad kata, oh, bazir ke kalau ambil wuduk? Dan Prophet kata, yes, even if you were on the banks of flowing river. So maksudnya, even bila kita mengambil wuduk, we shouldn't waste water. We should only use what is enough. Contohnya, lepas ambil wuduk tu, janganlah biar air buka terbesar sangat. Contohnya, kita boleh buka air kecil saja. And then bila ambil wuduk, selesai ambil wuduk, terus tutup pilih air. Satu lagi ayat Quran contohnya, eat and drink, but waste not by excess, for Allah love not the wasters. So even dalam surah Al-A'raf, ayat 31 dalam Al-Quran, menyatakan bahawa kita should not waste. Ya. Kita should not waste sebab Allah juga tak suka orang yang membazir. Ni mungkin ada yang kenal mantan VC kita dulu, Datuk Seri Zaini, ya, sekarang KSU. So one of the tips that he inform us, ya, ni dia publish dalam surat khabar, dia kata mandi 3 minit sahaja untuk jaga alam sekitar. Ya, so jangan mandi lama-lama. So siapa yang suka mandi 10 minit ke berjam tu, then this is the time for us to rethink. We don't need to shower that long. Of course lah 3 minit ni mungkin pendek sangat, but 5 minutes is reasonable. So try to shorten your showers as well. Yeah, you don't need to shower so long. Yeah, by shortening your shower, it also reduce the water consumption. And ada banyak lagi tips-tips jimat air ni. Kalau you Google tu banyak je. Ni contoh yang saya Google dan jumpa dekat Science punya website. Ya, tips untuk jimat air. Ya, contohnya dia kata sini, kalau you nak berus gigi, ya, you guna cawan. Ya, you guna cawan. Cawan guna 0.5 liter of water only. Instead, kalau you buka air pipe dan biar air pipe mengalir tu, it use about 45 liters of water. Tengok, imagine how much guna cup 0.5 liter, guna pilih air 45 liter kalau you biar terbuka for 5 minutes. So imagine how much water you have waste if you brush teeth and letting the water flows for 5 minutes. Kurangkan masa mandian, gunakan pancuran mandian bertekanan rendah dan tutup pancuran mandian ketika bersabun. Yeah? So if you're using a shower, make sure you use a shower head which has a yang low water, ya, is water efficient punya shower head. And again, bila you tak menggunakan air, contohnya you tengah nak mandi bersabun tu, then you can switch it off for a while, and then lepas tu you boleh switch it on again. Yeah? And try to take shorter showers. Mencuci kereta. Ya, mencuci kereta, gunakan baldi untuk mencuci kereta dan elakkan penggunaan salur getah. Again, if you use a baldi, air dalam baldi, it save you more water compared to using a water hose. Ya. Siram bunga. Elakkan menyiram pokok bunga secara berlebihan dan pilih landscape taman yang tidak memerlukan air yang banyak. So if you are thinking of starting a gardening, you might want to think as well which plants that do not require too much water. And contohnya kalau hari tu hujan, tak payahlah siram bunga. Dah hujan kan? So boleh jimat air. Okay? So kalau nak siram bunga pun, we do not need to, we only need to siram secukupnya. Yeah? So sama juga cuci muka, we have to switch off when we are not using it. And kalau you ada tandas ni ada banyak jenis ya. Kalau tandas yang jenis yang lama tu, satu toilet flush tu dia ambil dalam 12 liter of water. So imagine kalau you seorang pergi toilet maybe 5 kali sehari, 5 kali darab 12, then you are using about 60 liter of water just for flushing toilet. Yeah? So what you can do instead, you can use what we call the dual flush toilet. Ya, dual flush toilet ni dia ada dual flush, tapi yang tu kalau mahal you tak mampu, ada juga cara lain. Contohnya you boleh letak botol air and so on. So nanti saya akan tunjukkan cara you boleh modify you punya tandas supaya you boleh kurangkan penggunaan air. Right? Next one, membersih rumah. Macam saya kata tadi, kalau you ada contohnya laman rumah tu kotor, tak payahlah guna air untuk bersihkan. You should use, for example, sapu je, penyapu je untuk sapu. Ya. Cuci pinggan pun, ya, kalau nak cuci pinggan, nak sabun pinggan tu, what you can do also waktu you nak menyabun pinggan and so on, you again can switch off the water. And if you are using washing machine to wash, then kalau boleh, wash during full load. Ya, waktu dah banyak baju tu, then you basuh sekali. Janganlah basuh sikit-sikit. Kalau you basuh sikit, air still dikena pakai berapa liter untuk mesin tu beroperasi. So again, it will be wasting of water as well as wasting of energy. So try to wash in full load if you're using washing machine. Okay. Okay, ni satu lagi ya. Of course, water kita consume in a lot of place. We use it for a lot of purpose macam cuci baju and so on tadi. Tapi ada satu lagi water wastage yang kadang-kadang kita tak nampak. So these are the water leakage. Yeah. And water leakage contributes to, kalau non-revenue water leakage tu, it contributes to a huge amount of water losses to the government. And even dekat rumah pun, the water leaks kadang-kadang contribute about 13%. So it's very important that kalau you nampak lah any water leaks, kadang-kadang bila kita tutup bilik air tu still menitik lagi. Sebab dia punya injap tu rosak. Ataupun you ada nampak mana-mana lah kat dalam rumah you ada air bocor. So try to repair the water pipes or the pipes as soon as possible. And kalau you nampak dekat luar rumah, mungkin pipe-pipe air yang connect to your house tu yang tengah bocor, tengah keluar banyak tu, then you should report it to the relevant department immediately. Yeah. Contohnya SAJ and so on. Kalau dekat Johor ni, Syarikat Air Johor, kalau you nampak ada masalah-masalah water leakage either within your house or outside your house. Yeah? So kita kena mainkan peranan kita sebagai a good citizen. Yeah? Right, those are common things you can do to save water. There are also a lot of unique ways for us to save water using maybe a simple modification of water system. So contohnya yang tadi toilet tu kan, you tak mampu nak beli dual flush toilet. Dual flush toilet memang adalah, ataupun low flush toilet di pasaran. Mungkin mahal sangat, you tak mampu. So these are examples of how you can modify your existing toilet flush. So ni contoh satu. Ni you tahu kan, ni pelampung yang terapung kat dalam kita punya toilet flush ni. Apa yang you boleh buat, you boleh bengkokkan sikit. Contohnya pelampung ni, dia punya batang ni boleh bengkokkan sikit so that air tu dia tak akan naik sampai ke paras atas ni. So ni contohnya satu cara you boleh membuatkan satu toilet flush tu berkurang dia punya jumlah air yang diperlukan for one flush. Satu cara lagi, you boleh masukkan contohnya botol air yang dalamnya ada isi air. So you boleh letak kat dalam you punya flushing water tank ni. So what will happen is water level tu dia takkan isi air sebab dia dah displaced by the water dalam botol tu kan. So air yang dia refill tiap-tiap kali pun akan berkurangan. So these are two very simple and cheap way where you can modify your existing toilet in order to use less water for flushing. So nampak senang dan mudah kan? Okay, yang kedua, kalau you biasa ada pipe air kat rumah tu, kat dapur ke, dekat tandas ke, dekat bathroom and so on. Kalau you buka, kadang-kadang air dia pun macam tak kuat sangat kan. And what happen is kita boleh gunakan what we call the aerators. So aerators ni basically you pasang dekat pipe-pipe air you and it will create dispersed water or laminar flow water or water jet water. So air ni dia akan, what happen is this aerators is like a regulator which restrict the water, the amount of water coming out. Jadi you kurang gunakan air, tapi dia akan disperse the water so that the water, katakanlah you nak basuh tangan, bila you gunakan this aerators, dia akan disperse the water. You boleh basuh tangan dengan air yang sikit, tapi dia akan spread through your whole hands, for example. So this is the benefits of using aerators and it's very useful. It's not expensive also, it's quite cheap to install it in your house and so on. Okay, ni contoh-contoh aerated water flow. So ni contohnya, ni aerated flow kita panggil, ni kita panggil laminar flow and this is a spray flow. Dan paling water efficient is this spray type of flow. Okay, ni contoh-contoh gadget lain. Macam saya kata tadi, kalau you ada duit, you boleh beli dual flush toilet. Kalau contohnya you buang air kecil je, you boleh pakai yang air sikit. Kalau you buang air besar, then you pakai full flush toilet. That's why it's called a dual flush toilet. You can either flush using half of the water or you can flush using all the water. Okay, ni satu lagi teknologi mungkin zaman atuk nenek kita dulu, dia panggil ni composting toilet. Composting toilet ni dia tak guna air langsung. So sekarang ni yang ni pun ada tapi tak banyaklah digunakan. Vacuum toilet ni kalau you pergi naik kapal terbang, that is a vacuum toilet. It use less water. Basically apa yang dia buat, dia guna pressure. untuk suckkan, vacuum pressure to suck the najis-najis dan sisa. Low flow shower heads. Kalau you suka guna aircon, maybe you can change to a normal electrical fan, because electrical fan don't use water, aircon does. And like I said, you can also use aerated water taps. Ni lagi satu teknologi. Malaysia ni kita banyak hujan. Of course, kadang-kadang hujan tu berterusan lama, kadang-kadang lama tak hujan. So antara tadi kita katakan A, which is alternative water source. So rainwater is one alternative water source yang kita boleh harvest. So how does a rainwater harvesting system works? For example, you ada rooftop kan dekat rumah dan you ada water gutter. So what we do is air daripada water gutter ni you boleh go through a water filter, contoh yang ini. So rooftop ni biasanya dia dia kotor lah kan, dia ada debu, dia ada tai burung, dia ada daun and so on. So kalau hari hujan, what will happen is some of the dirts dia akan jatuh kat sini dan some others will be filtered water. So filtered water ni yang kita boleh ambil, kita boleh simpan dalam tank. Mungkin you boleh letak chlorine tablet yang macam orang guna dekat swimming pool tu, and you boleh guna untuk maybe bukan untuk minum lah, tapi you boleh guna untuk cuci lantai and so on. So ada banyak jenis rainwater harvesting system. Yang ni kalau you tengok, basically dia ada gutter kat sini. So mula-mula air kotor akan jatuh belah sini. So nanti benda ni dia akan tip bila air dah penuh kat dalam ni, dan dia akan masuk yang bersih mengepat kat dalam water tank. So normally kalau rainwater harvesting system ni kita akan collect water air hujan, waktu hujan dan dalam satu water tank. Lepas tu water tank ni kita boleh guna pada hari-hari yang tak hujan lah, untuk apa-apa kegunaan yang bukan untuk minum and so on. So rainwater is very good, and especially in Malaysia, kita punya hujan kat Malaysia ni agak lebat. So it's very suitable for rainwater harvesting. Okay, next one saya nak tanya. Do you guys know what kind of water yang kita guna untuk flush toilet? Kita guna, tadi saya kata tadi satu toilet flush dalam 12 liter kan. So air apa yang kita guna untuk flush toilet ni? Air bersih kan? So it's actually clean water, which is daripada air pipe yang kita beli daripada utility provider tu lah. So kita guna air bersih yang sama yang kita guna untuk makan, untuk minum, untuk masak, untuk mandi, untuk flush toilet juga. So soalannya, do we need to use clean water, which is memang kita guna untuk minum and masak? Do we really need to use this clean water to flush a toilet? Or maybe we can use alternative water ataupun reuse water. So air toilet, kita tak perlu guna air daripada pipe. Why do we need to use water from the water pipes, which we are using it for drinking? Kita boleh guna reuse water. So ni contoh satu toilet flush daripada Jepun. So it's quite innovative and very interesting. You can see that this boy is washing his hand, and then air daripada basuhan tu dia masuk ke dalam toilet flush ni yang diguna untuk flush the toilet. So ni adalah satu contoh direct water reuse. And kita pun boleh buat juga benda yang sama. Katakan kita cuci, kita tak ada benda macam ni, apa kita boleh buat? Kita boleh ambil air baldi, katakan kita ambil wuduk kat rumah tu. So you boleh tadah air, lepas air wuduk itu you boleh tadah, masuk dalam baldi, lepas tu you masukkan dalam toilet flush you contohnya. So that is one simple way we can do water reuse. Menarik At least yang ni pun kita boleh jimat air. So kalau dekat negara-negara lain, macam saya kata tadi, yang ni daripada Jepun, yang ni daripada Jordan. So dekat Jordan ni dikumpul air wuduk daripada masjid. So air wuduk kat masjid tu sangat banyak. So what happened, they collect it and then they use it for irrigation. Irrigation ni untuk agriculture lah. So imagine sekarang ni masjid UTM contohnya, surau-surau. Semua masjid yang ada dekat Johor ni contohnya, they are all wasting that water. Air daripada wuduk tu lepas pakai terus buang ke drainage. Kan sangat-sangat sayang. Ya. Air ni is quite clean. Kalau you rasa tak selesa nak pakai directly, you boleh ada partial treatment, you boleh letak some water filter yang simple, and then you boleh contohnya letak chlorine tablet and so on for the water to be safe to be used. Yeah. But this water, imagine how much water we are using from ablation and so on, dan kita just buang atau discharge this water to the environment. Yeah, again, benda ni adalah satu benda yang mungkin kita boleh consider. Mungkin air masjid UTM tu kita boleh modify sikit ke design dia, dan kita boleh recover and reuse the water untuk kita siram pokok bunga ke kat sekitar UTM ni. Okay. Alright, so air water ni, air yang reuse ni kita panggil grey water. Ya, so air untuk reuse, air sisa air yang lepas kita dah pakai, biasanya they classify into two types of water. We call it grey water and black water. Black water kita tak boleh recycle atau reuse. Ya. Black water ni contohnya air, katakan you buang air besar ke and so on. So air tu kita panggil black water sebab kita tak boleh reuse. Air daripada kitchen pun biasanya kita tak boleh reuse unless untuk pokok ke apa. Tapi air yang boleh reuse contohnya kita panggil grey water. Ya. So grey water ni contohnya air daripada shower ataupun air daripada sinki and so on. Yeah. So this water, the grey water, we can reuse, and there is a guideline. Yeah. Kalau you Google, you akan jumpa banyak guideline daripada negara lain on how to reuse grey water safely. Yeah. So air ni kita boleh collect contohnya. So contohnya you ada rumah 2 tingkat ke, ataupun kalau you rumah setingkat pun you just boleh collect dalam baldi ke, dalam apa ke. Dan air ni you boleh contohnya guna untuk siram pokok bunga, untuk cuci lantai and so on. Ya, cuci kereta ke. So it's something you can consider. So contohnya air washing machine juga. So washing machine kita ada first wash, second wash and third wash. Mungkin first wash kita tak nak guna balik. Tapi air contohnya yang third wash is quite clean already. So we can also reuse this water from the third wash washing machine to be reused back. Yeah. So these are some examples of water reuse system. Okay, so rainwater ataupun grey water kita boleh guna untuk macam-macam kegunaan. Macam saya kata tadi, untuk siram pokok, untuk cuci kereta, untuk flush toilet, and maybe even other types of usages. So benefit kalau kita pakai rainwater, rainwater ni ialah mungkin lagi kita rasa lebih selamat sebab dia lebih bersih. Tapi rainwater ni dia tak selalu ada. Ya, kadang-kadang hujan, kadang-kadang tak hujan. So kalau you nak guna rainwater, kadang-kadang you kena ada tank yang besar. Dan you tak tahu minggu tu akan hujan berapa kali. So rainwater has its advantage, but it also have some disadvantage. Grey water is quite consistent. Ya. So contohnya tiap-tiap hari you akan ambil wuduk. Tiap-tiap hari you akan mandi 2 kali sehari. Tiap-tiap hari you akan berus gigi 2 kali sehari. So air grey water biasanya kita memang akan hasilkan setiap hari dalam kuantiti yang hampir sama. So kalau you reuse grey water, normally you tak perlu storage tank yang besar sangat macam rainwater, dan you tak payah risau sebab grey water selalunya you pakai amount yang hampir sama setiap hari. So the water supply will be there and you need smaller storage system. Yeah. So there are pros and cons of using either rainwater or grey water. So it's up to you which one. Kalau you berminat lah nak implement one of this, which one you are more interested to go for. Yeah. Okay. So ni contohnya kalau you nak treat you punya water reuse, mungkin tak nak pakai directly, mungkin air tu sedikit kotor, you boleh buat sand filter sendiri. Ya, kalau you Google kat YouTube tu banyak je ya. You letaklah pasir, batu and so on, layer by layer, and you can already create your own sand filtering system, ya, water sand filtering system. Kalau nak beli, banyak je teknologi membrane filter kat luar sana, macam microfiltration, reverse osmosis, ya, and so on, untuk you consider to be used. Ya. So kalau kita tengok this one, this is the amount of water consumption per person per day. Ya, so kalau kita tengok US ya, antara negara yang orang dia menggunakan air yang sangat banyak. they consume more than 500 liters per person per day on average. This is very, very high. Yeah. So according to the guideline, the good guideline, it is recommended sepatutnya lah average water yang digunakan which is suitable, ya. Tak terlalu, kalau orang miskin mungkin dia tak dapat guna air macam negara-negara ni kan, dia water scarcity punya countries. Maybe they don't have the luxury of water, but a nice amount of water that you should use, which is recommended, is only 165 liter per day. Dan kalau you check statistik untuk Malaysia average Malaysian use dalam 220 liter per person per pax ke dalam 220 ke 300 liter per person. And that is the common way. So basically I can say that Malaysian we are around this area. Kita mungkin sama macam France and Norway dalam jenis penggunaan air. So this is quite high, and the recommended amount of water to be used is only around 165 liter per day. Yeah, so that is like we have to reduce about 1/3 or maybe half of the amount of water that we are currently using nowadays. And this can be done by tengok balik kat mana yang kita membazir air dan kat mana kita boleh reuse water contohnya. Okay. So basically that's all about my talk. So sebelum saya mengakhiri saya punya talk, jom kita tengok kita punya water consumption. So I would like each of you to go into this website, https://www.watercalculator.org. Saya akan bagi dalam masa 3 minit, you pergi website ni and you click this one, find your footprint. Okay, so saya bagi 3 minit untuk you guys try and see what is your water consumption daily. Yeah, and then after that, at the same time, sambil kita tunggu that 3 minute, feel free to post your questions at the comment side, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. So that's all from me. Thank you very much. So water is very important for life. Water is life itself. Yeah? We need water for almost everything. So we should play our role. And not only that, kalau kita berkesempatan, kita juga educate others. Yeah? And ingatlah, and we have not sent you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except as a mercy to the world. Ya? Kita adalah khalifah yang diturunkan oleh Allah SWT ke bumi ini untuk menjaga bumi ini. So we should not pollute the world. Instead, we should try to ensure that we have a sustainable living style. So with that, thank you very much. So sambil-sambil tu boleh try this water footprint punya calculator, and I'm happy to answer any questions after that. Thank you very much.
Okay, terima kasih saya ucapkan sekali lagi kepada Profesor Insinyur Teknologi Dr. SHARIFAH RAFIDAH binti Wan ALWI kerana sudi berkongsi ilmu selama 1 jam, dan juga terima kasih saya ucapkan sekali lagi kepada Greenhouse Committee of SKT dan juga semua para penonton yang setia menonton sehingga penghujung program ini. Apa yang saya dapat simpulkan sikit lah, Prof. Daripada perkongsian Prof ni, dia berbalik kepada individu ataupun kita sendirilah. Macam mana kita guna apa yang kita guna tu, maksudnya kita lah yang tahu berapa banyak kita guna air tu sehari-harian kan. Jadinya kita kena ambil kisah ataupun ambil peduli tentang penggunaan air. Maksudnya kita tak perlu kata rumah orang lain punya air. Kita sendiri, apa yang kita guna tu, kita kena take note lah apa yang kita dah guna. Adakah hari ini berlaku pembaziran air ataupun kita guna secukupnya kan. Bila apa, dan kita juga kena concern di masa akan datang, sebab air tu kiranya makin berkurang lah, Prof kan, betul tak?
Betul.
Makin lama bila penggunaannya tinggi, air bersih tu akan berkurang lah di masa akan datang. Okey, tak apa. Saya masih menunggu jika ada soalan daripada para penonton. Setakat ni tiada. Ataupun tak apa, kita beri lagi 2 minit untuk penonton cuba semak penggunaan air yang telah Prof kongsikan link tersebut. Okey, nampaknya masih tiada apa-apa pertanyaan dekat Facebook. Mungkin Prof ada kata-kata terakhir sebelum kita tamatkan mungkin.
Okay, untuk contohnya student ke ataupun staff contohnya, so kadang-kadang macam dekat hostel ataupun dekat office kita tak bayar bil air kan. Contohnya kat UTM mungkin bil air kita tak bayar, even dekat office bil air tak bayar, so kadang-kadang kita membazir. Ya? So even though water is quite cheap in Malaysia, kalau kita tengok harga air sangat-sangat murah lah compare dengan harga electricity, but it is very important for all of us to play our part. Ya? So kita bukannya seharusnya jimat air kat rumah sahaja sebab kita bayar bil. So walaupun kita dekat hostel yang kita tak bayar bil ataupun kat office, we should also play our part and try to reduce water consumption. Ya? So basically macam saya kata, kita khalifah kat dunia ni. So we should always try not to waste. Ya? Nabi Muhammad pun kata it is not good for us to membazir. Right? Itu saja daripada saya. Terima kasih.
Jadinya kalau tiada, okey, ada soalan satu Prof. Apakah teknologi terkini yang mungkin boleh digunakan bagi penjimatan air? Silakan Prof.
Terima kasih. So teknologi untuk jimat air banyak je. Contohnya kalau you tengok dekat shopping mall tu, kalau you nak lagi canggih tu, you boleh buat automation lah. Ya? So contohnya you letak tangan kat situ baru air tu keluar. Contohnya dia guna infrared and so on. So teknologi automation banyak sekarang ni. Kalau you tengok macam dekat shopping mall juga, kadang-kadang you tak payah tekan pun flush toilet tu dia flush sendiri. Bila you bangun je, dia flush sendiri. So that is so benda tu IR 4.0 lah. Sekarang ni banyak teknologi automation. Tapi although there are a lot of automation, bagi saya sebenarnya if we can save water manually, just switch off bila kita tak pakai, and flush bila kita perlu and so on, that is already a good way. Sebab kadang-kadang automation pun dia ada error and so on. Kadang-kadang kita just baru nak angkat sekejap je dia dah flush toilet. Kadang-kadang tak angkat pun lagi dia dah flush the toilet kadang-kadang kan. Yang kalau kat shopping mall ke apa kan. So those are some kinds of new technologies lah. And even rainwater harvesting, water reuse treatment system and so on pun ada banyak je teknologi baru out there. And it's something yang kalau you berminat lah, you boleh explore. Yeah.
Rasanya ada satu pendapat daripada Encik Syamuddin. Kadar harga air di UTM tidak sama dengan perumahan.
Okay, I don't really know the water tarif of UTM, tapi biasanya dia ada different rate lah. So biasanya dia ada untuk rumah, commercial dengan industri punya rate, harga dia tak sama. So yang ni dia tak sama juga state by state. Contohnya Johor rate dia lain, negeri lain pun dia ada different rate sebab it's being supplied by different utility water provider. So kalau you berminat nak tahu yang ni, you can go to Syarikat Air Johor website and you can see what is the common tarif for a commercial water usage. Yeah.
Okay. Dah tepat jam 3.30 petang. Jadinya tiada soalan lagi untuk saya bacakan. Dengan itu sekian Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, dan jumpa lagi pada siri yang akan datang. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Waalaikumsalam.